Encoders are part of automation's bread and butter tools, highly important and incredibly key for any motion control process. Without them, conveyor systems can't monitor positions on a belt. AGVs won't control their speeds. Robotic pickers won't accurately grab objects. And as these kinds of automation machines move faster, become smaller, still require precise performance, encoders also need to do the same. SICK has been in the encoder game since the launch of their first encoder back in 1960, and they're continuing to pull their weight with their newest encoder. How y'all doing? My name is Jean Lim, EandM 6 specialist for the Pacific Northwest, and I want to quickly talk about the ANS/ANM58 PROFINET encoder made by SICK. A rare all-rounder, the ANS/ANM58 has an improved made-in-house optical measurement system alongside real-time data transmission capabilities. This makes the ANS/ANM58 a great high-precision encoder perfect for synchronous processes using PROFINET IoT communication. At just 39 millimeters in length, the ANS/ANM58 with radial connections offer the smallest installation depth of any encoder of its kind available. And we still offer a variety of mechanical models for whichever best mounting and shaft style works for the application. This makes mounting the encoder very, very easy. Integration then offers a variety of options. The encoder can easily be configured with 6 free-to-use SOPAS ET configuration that is also tailored to work with Siemens TIA Portal. And to showcase that, I sent this slick little encoder to Jon Hill, EandM Siemens product specialist, and I got him to work with the encoder with no background information except giving him the manual. Let's see how it goes, Jon.
Hello, everyone. This is Jon Hill, one of the product specialists from EandM. And today I want to show you how to set up a SICK PROFINET encoder in TIA Portal. So the first thing I did is I went to the SICK website and I searched for the encoder I have, which is the EandM58, filtered to the software. And here we can see they have an actual PROFINET function block for TIA Portal already on their website. So this one here is something that we're not going to actually look at today. But if you want to actually read and write parameters to your SICK encoder while you're running, this function block will allow you to do that. But what we're really after here today is this GSDML file down here. So I downloaded that, and then also from the literature page, I grabbed the manual for that unit. And if I switch over to my VM, here are those two files that I downloaded. I did pull that function block one just to look at it, but we're not going to dig into that today. We're just going to do a simple setup of the PROFINET encoder and show you that working with a technology object. And there's that expanded GSDML file, and there is that manual. This is a great manual. It has a lot of information in it. It actually walks you right through everything we're going to do today as far as how to use that manual and how to use the parameters. It digs into, if you're getting into using that function block, all the different parameters that you're reading and writing to. When we come over to our TIA portal, I already have my PLC in here. That GSD file can be added here under manage these files. You can see here I already installed it, but that's where you go to if you want to install that. If you haven't already done something like that, there are probably other videos you can find on how to install GSDML files. So once we have our PLC in here already, we're going to switch over to our network view. And just to kind of show you, I will do a quick scan of my network to show you that I have the encoder connected, but it is kind of blank, right? I did a factory reset on it so that you can see it here. I don't have a PROFINET name on it. I don't have an IP address in it currently. So it's just kind of sitting there ready to be configured. Come down to other field devices, PROFINET IO, encoders, SICK, and the EandM58 is the one that I have. So I'm just going to grab one of these and drag that out, drop it into my project. Going to go ahead and assign that to my PLC. So when I did that, if I double click into it and we go into the properties, come down here, we will see that did give it an IP address when we threw it into our network. Of course, that has not been pushed out to the device yet. The other thing is it will automatically generate a PROFINET name for the device. So when we're working with PROFINET, obviously we need to have a PROFINET name. And so you can, leave this as the default, or you can go in and put something else in here if you want. I'm just going to use the default today. In the manual, when you go through and when we are using technology object such as the external encoder that we're going to be using, that uses a different telegram than our default here. So we're going to go ahead and delete this standard telegram. We'll come over here into our catalog, and we want standard telegram 83, which is typically what the external encoder technology object is looking for. The other thing I'm going to do while I'm here is come into this parameter access point, come down under the module parameters. And in here, we have some different settings for this module, and we just kind of want to confirm these. These do show up in the manual very nicely. The manual was written with version 16. I'm working in version 20 today. So there were a couple things that have changed wording slightly. So you do need to kind of read through it a little closer to make sure that you're getting the right settings that you're trying to change in a couple instances. But the ones we really want to check are down in here. We do want to add this scaling function here. And then we are going to change our total measuring value. So this one ends up being 429,496,7296. And that number comes right out of the manual. And it goes into why we use that number. I'm not going to dig into that too much right now. From there, while I'm still kind of in this view, I'm going to click into my network view. I'm going to do a right click on my network and assign device name. Again, because we are using PROFINET, we do need to have that device name pushed out to our device. That is a bit of a manual process, so that's what we're going to try and do right here. So it shows right here. So when I click on that, no device name is currently assigned, so we will assign the name to that. And that pushed out fine the way it looks. We can double check that if we want. Just come up here and click on our accessible devices, do a search again. We should see that NM58, but we still don't have an IO address or an IP address out there yet because we have not pushed that configuration down into our PLC, which will automatically push that address out to it once we do that. So from here, we have essentially the encoder added and kind of set up. So we're going to come over here, go to our technology objects, add a new one. The one we are after is this external encoder. So we'll go OK on that and select it. We'll create that for us and add it into our project tree. From here, let me open this window up a little bit so you guys can see. We're going to go ahead and change this to rotary. And that will give us our position in degrees. So we'll have full 360-degree position on that as the encoder goes around. And it will also give us a velocity number. We're going to come down to our encoder. And we're going to select the one. I only have the one in this system right now. So I can select that. It is a multi-turn with a standard telegram. And we will add that in. It is an absolute encoder. So I do want to come in here and change that to absolute. And so that sets up that portion of it. I also want to add exchange section here and make a couple of changes in here. So we are using that standard telegram 83, like I said, and we are doing a rotary system. But we are going to change this. Our increments per revolution on this unit are actually 262,144. And that is per revolution. And then the number of revolutions that we have is 16,384. And then we do want to zero these out down here. And again, the manual does go into, some of the whys of all these numbers, where they all come from based on the settings and how the encoder functions. So once we have that all put in there, I'm going to come up to my PLC. I'm going to do a download to the PLC with all this information. We'll load that in there. Of course, it's going to do a compile in the background for us because I work with TIA Portal. It knows it needs to be compiled. There was some stuff in this PLC because I've been messing with it off and on, so we're going to go ahead and do that. So while we wait for this to load, comes up, do you want to start the PLC? Go ahead and click finish on that. So now I have this project loaded into my PLC. It should have updated that IP address. Again, we can just do a quick accessible devices to double check that if we're concerned. There is that 192.168.0.2, which is what we had in the settings. So that looks all good for us. Now the next thing, just to verify that this encoder is working, there's a simple way to do that. If we come to diagnostics and come down to motion status, we're going to go ahead and go online, turn our monitoring on. Everything is coming up green bubbles over here, which is good. As we go online, we see we are at 0 here. I'm going to reach over and give that encoder a spin. And you can see as I run it through a complete rotation, we do get 0 to 360. As I keep going, it keeps counting up. So we get to that 720. So there, I've wrapped it around 2 times, essentially. Profi drive telegram, if I come down here, it's actually using, the actual value words from that telegram and showing us some changes there. Again, with the motion status, we do see that depending on which direction I'm turning it, positive and minus velocity. So you see right there, a pretty simple setup. And like I said, all these steps are in that SICK manual. It is a version 16, so some things may or may not have changed depending on which version of TIA Portal you are working in. But overall, pretty simple to set up and a nice way to use the SICK encoder with a Siemens PLC on PROFINET or with any other PROFINET speaking PLC that you might have out there. You should have some similar setup, but the manual does walk you through this very nicely on how to use this external encoder technology object, and it then goes into much deeper details on how to use all the parameters to read write to the unit itself if you want to kind of roll your own actions, rather than using a technology object. So I hope you found this helpful. Have a great day.